The Jorge Joestar light novel, one of the most mysterious things surrounding JoJo as it was never translated, that is, until today, because earlier this week, after 5 whole years of work, we have this beautiful shitpost that for some reason exists. I'm gonna say that again. This actually exists. I would know, I actually own one. Hello everyone, this is the RPG Monger, and today, after reading the entirety of the Jorge Joestar light novel, I must say, what just happened? Like, I am writing this right after I finish it, and I still have no idea what just happened. So before I summarize this entire novel, so you don't have to, let me explain this. Each chapter alternates between 2 stories, one being of Jorge Joestar, the one we all know from the original universe. The other story being about another Jorge Joestar in an alternate universe. So that you all don't get confused, I'll put a 1 at the bottom of the screen if I'm talking about the original Jorge, or a 2 if I'm talking about the other Jorge. We start out with Jorge Joestar, or should I say, Jorge Joestar. Jorge sucks just about as much as his dad did, with shit getting rubbed in his face, literally, with Lisa having to save his wimpy ass every time. Oh, and then there's just vampires out of nowhere. You know, just vampires. But whatever, now Lisa has to go to hormone training with straights. But not before Jorge admits that he loves her and vice versa. Oh, and Jorge has a Japanese friend too. Remember this friend. Oh wait, never mind, he's dead now. Now onto Jorge Joestar, the 15-year-old detective who stumbles upon Jorge's Japanese friend who isn't dead somehow and is now in an alternate dimension with Joji. But not for long, because the next morning he was found dead again. And guess where his body was? In Morio. That makes sense, right guys? Oh, also Joji's a detective too. That's kind of important, sort of, I guess. So back to Jorge, who then has to deal with a girl named Penelope, who has a wound, which is basically a scan you get from serious trauma. Her wound is being able to create locked rooms and manifesting a clown that hangs you inside of the room. Like, I've heard some weird powers in JoJo, but this is just taking it to another level. And believe me, that's tame compared to what's to come. Then, after almost killing Jorge and her ex, Jorge escapes and she cries. The end. Oh, and then it is revealed that Irina has the fucking severed head of Jonathan in her basement. What? Like this is fanfiction level shit right here. And back to Joji, where after going to the town of Morio, he meets up with the one and only Rohan Kishibe, of course, in his new house, the Aerocross house, even though he literally had his house refurbished in 4. But who cares about actual canon plot, right? Though after discussing the untimely second death of Jorge's friend, a group of 3 youths come knocking at the doors. I wonder who they could be. Okuyasu perhaps? Maybe even Koichi. Well, if you guessed any of those characters, you were wrong. It's Koji Hirose, the alternate Koichi that looks absolutely the same except for just being tall now. And the alternate bootleg versions of the Nijimura brothers. Oh, and wait until you hear their stands. Like, with alternate Koichi, he has Blue Thunder, the stand that is literally just head propellers, and that's it. Like, there's nothing more to it, he just has head propellers. Oh, and the alternate Okuyasu stand? It's called Grand Blue. Guess what it is? All done? Well, it's most likely wrong because his stand is literally just 3 dolphins. You heard me right. 3 dolphins that you can ride and they just go anywhere. They fly through the sky and everything. What? Why? But I saved the best for last because alternate Keijo stand NYPD Blue, which is, and I quote, "He was a good cop but had a foul mouth and an abrasive personality. Apparently, he was a New Yorker to the core." Yes, the stand is literally just a cop from New York with stand eyes. all he can do is he just pulls out a gun. It's nothing special about the gun. It's not like Whole Horse or Sex Pistols. It's just a gun. I'm going insane. Oh, and Raimi's living with Rohan because I guess she's not dead. But everything I just said is nothing because then the entire town of Morayo splits off from the weird Pangea continent that this universe has and becomes an island moving through the ocean. Next. Now, this chapter I can't shit too much on, since it goes over what happened to Irina after the boat exploded and before she arrived at the island of La Palma, and it's actually pretty interesting with Dio slowly recovering by taking Irina's blood with a lot of character development that I almost wish was canon. Almost. Just almost. And it sort of explains why Dio has his coffin in part 3. So you know what? Chapter 5 gets an A+. Now, with the island of Morayo physically moving through the sea, chaos ensues. With an invisible dome around the island, this must be the work of an enemy stand. Oh, also Kira apparently exists here too, and had Bites of the Dust activated on everyone, though once Morayo became an island, it got turned off. But then, we go into how they discovered Kira, with the stand of alternate Shigechi, whose stand name is Stray Dog. And its power is to control all stray dogs. No, it gets better though. It gets better though because then they go into how Aya changes his identity, but Aya's new stand name is Face Off. Oh man, so bad. Like, this shit is so bad that it's good. Like, I was dying when I was reading this. So anyways, after NYPD Blue curses everyone out, a soldier falls off of a helicopter and lands onto the Morayo Dome, and Koji goes up to help with his bootleg propeller stand. Then, after retrieving the message, it turns out the soldier was fucking Funny Valentine because he's still alive in 2012. But it gets even crazier, because Funny Valentine had a son named Funnier Valentine, an astronaut on the first flight to Mars, who in turn had a son named The Funniest Valentine. And yes, The is part of his name, and he is the current president of the United States. I think just explaining that made me lose brain cells. So then, we experience Jotaro's wet dream as our heroes ride through the skies on dolphins. And after arriving at a burning temple and finding blood art, Koji saves the day by destroying the entire ceiling of the temple with his dumb propeller stand. Looks like Echoes needs to step up its game now. Though, believe it or not, this chapter isn't even over yet, since in Rohan's house, there is a door leading to another house where physics don't apply, and I honestly don't even know how I could begin to explain that to you guys. It's just so confusing. But that has to wait, since then, the chapter ends with another island heading straight for Morayo. But this island is from Italy, and it's called Nero Island. And you guessed it, it houses the entire headquarters of Pashoin. Yes, everyone, part 5 is here too now. What even? Anyways, back to George, where once again we have another great chapter with him, Irina, and Penelope moving to England. I love this chapter since it shows how George became interested in planes by meeting a boy with a wound that allowed him to grow wings, and his sister who built makeshift airplanes. And after some classic England hijinks with his newly acquired friends, George's twice-dead Japanese friend appears before him, floating in the air, describing how he is in an alternate universe, and then teleporting George to Rome, where Lisa was taking the Stone of Asia out of its ruins. Thus, some more romantics ensue, and honestly, I kind of enjoy this. With it being barely elaborated in the main series, even if this isn't canon, I kinda like these segments. But then it all ends, since once he gets back to England, one of his airplane friends was murdered, and he was the prime suspect. I swear, is this shit a soap opera? Back to Insane Chaos Hell World with our heroes witnessing a murder through binoculars on Nero Island. And then, the most insane thing happens. This isn't your ordinary island. No. The island has legs. Weird, stumpy land legs, but actual legs. I need an adult. Where can I find an adult? But it's not over yet, because then it starts walking on top of the entire island of Morayo. What am I reading? Then, after a series of chaotic events, Joji finds a pebble phone. I don't even know anymore. And when he answers it, who else answers but the gangstar himself, Giorno? Giorno then hires Joji as a detective and introduces him to the rest of the gangstars. Giorno then partners Joji and the other detectives in Morayo with each of the gangstars, Joji being partnered with Narancia, who, and I quote, was the most dangerous of the group. But then, out of nowhere, George's Japanese friend appears and teleports Joji and Narancia onto, what is this? Onto a spaceship heading for Mars's secret moon. Thus ends the first half of this thing. I honestly can't tell whether it's genius or just plain stupid. But unfortunately, I'm gonna have to split this into a two-parter since there's just so much more to discuss and I frankly cannot fit more of it into this video. And you know what? Let's have a poll just to test it out. Which bootleg stand was your favorite? NYPD Blue with its sassy New Yorker quotes and a single gun? Grand Blue, the 3 dolphins that can fly you anywhere? Or Blue Thunder, the stand that makes me question the purpose of life? Just click on the eye icon in the corner of the video to vote. I am honestly speechless. When I first started making these dumb anime videos for fun, I never would have thought that anyone would watch them, yet here we all are. All I have to say is thank you to all of my viewers, old and new, but even more so to those who have been with me forever now for like 5 months, and haven't even left when I've made more lackluster videos compared to others. Early on, I would have tons of people leave me the second I made a video that did involve JoJo in some way. So point blank, all of you that stayed with me this entire journey, you all are fantastic. Truly, truly, you all are. From the bottom of my heart. Though now that I've done this sappy bullshit, I'll go from 1,000 to 100. So anyways, if you like this video and you're new, do subscribe and tell me how you like this video. So today's cool thing of the day is Buddy Waters, the man who has been working on this translation for 5 whole years. So show him some love, links in the description. And that being said, I'm the RPG Monger, and don't forget that each and every one of you are fantastic. Really, you all are.